What's up, everyone? This is another 3D model, 3D print spotlight video here. This time I am taking something that was modeled to fit small printers, probably in about 7-inch range, and we are blowing it up as big as we can on the smallest printer we can. So let's get into it. All right, so if you look behind me, I am full of action figures and pop culture. I even put on my Nintendo shirt just to kind of get into this kind of video because this model has been floating around the internet for a long time. And in fact, this company, this individual, what have you, makes someone probably the most dynamic models that I've seen out there. There are some paid and some free, and I will show you here in a minute what I'm talking about. But this is perfect to kind of showcase my love of the 80s and action figures, and I want to blow up, meaning scale up this action figure the biggest I can, again on my smallest printer. And a couple things why. I wanted the challenge of exploring my slicing software and see how I can take prints that don't fit the bed and cut them up and add some of the connecting features that the slicing software has, and I'm specifically talking about Bambu Lab, right? I'm doing this on my Bambu Lab A1 Mini, and I'm using this the Bambu software, the slicing software, to do it and explore the features that are in it. I think it was very cool, and yeah, I think it's cool because again, it gives you that sense of there's no limits to these printers, right? The biggest printer, smallest printer, you can print what you want, and I'm all about pushing the limits. I don't want the ease of it sometimes. I want to be able to explore because I'm always about trying to learn the process rather than a plug and play. And it's very important. Anyway, I saw this model on Uncle Jesse. Shout out to Uncle Jesse. Those of you who know, you know. And the dude is awesome. He does some amazing prints. And he did this video kind of like a long time ago, and it got me thinking, like, I want one too. I want to do this too. I didn't know how hard this was going to be. Not the printing part, but the assembly. And well, you know what? Let's just get into it right now. Let's pull up the site and just go into it, and I will try to explain why this was probably the hardest model that I've ever tried to assemble. I even got battle wounds, blood blisters, scrapes, pinching, and it was absolutely horrible, but it was a learning experience, and let's share this knowledge. So yeah, I'm just gonna pull it up. All right, making our way to Toymaker 3D. A huge shout out to Toymaker 3D. If you have not explored this man's website, you got to do yourself that favor. It is absolutely amazing. I want to show you something. And I was just talking about the line of 80s nostalgic and action figures. He has made pretty much a whole extensive list of G1 Autobots and Decepticons from the Transformers series. Some transform, but some of them don't. They're just kind of just the robot mode. The models, all free in this section, and then he does have some paid files, which I am going to dive into that Atomic Dragon here one day, and that Sentinel, which he calls it Zolarion, but it's a Sentinel battle. Guys, come on, this is awesome. I'm going to support this, and I'm going to buy the model, print it out as big as I can because I think it deserves it. Well deserves it. So what I did is I found, like, he has this section here, G1 robots. Okay, now Transformers is huge. I love Transformers, and these are amazing. And these are all scaled to the original toys that came out. So around 6 to 8 inches in height, right? And I was like, that's cool, but I want to have something huge on display because I do collect the Transformers. And the G1 is probably is the only one to collect anyway, in my opinion. That's just me. I'm sorry. But of course, I had to come up with Megatron and Optimus Prime first. Those are the first two that I wanted to print. So I went ahead and downloaded Megatron here, and you can see how amazing he is. He's, like I said, just in robot mode, but watching Uncle Jesse's video and kind of preparing myself also, you kind of get the sense of how many parts and the ease of this is. But Toymaker has given you a full description on how to print things, a full list of all the parts that needed, some reviews of people that have done it, some settings, some recommended settings. Now what I did is on our settings, because we're going to blow this up to as big as we can, and we'll get into that in a second of what percentage that would be. Some of these settings are not going to be transferable to that type of scaling. This was all. I know that he designed these things with no supports, but scaling everything up, you kind of like have to put your own supports in and everything. And again, we'll get into that. But Toymaker 3D is where it's at. I mean, this is my next one, Optimus Prime. To have these two as a battle pose, and they're fully posable, by the way, articulated, posable, everything. It's great. Just thank you, Toymaker, for making these, for making these and putting up for free. Not a lot of people do that, and it goes a long way in the 3D printing community. And again, this is not sponsored by any means by Toymaker, but I am going to put it out there that because I've already started printing his files and everything, the paid files have got to be just epic. I mean, these robots and droids and stuff are just epic anyway. So yeah, let's go ahead and get that Megatron onto the slicer and see what we've got. Okay, here is the entire Megatron project in front of us, and it's a lot of plates, but this all fits the Bambu A1 Mini build plate. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what I did. Now this is already scaled up, but I'm going to go ahead and we're going to add a build plate here, and let's bring in a part from Megatron just to kind of show you guys what I scaled up and how it works. So let's just do let's find his head. All right, pulled in his face. I said head, but let's pull in his face. All right, so there's the regular scaled, not scaled, I'm sorry, the regular model. It's very small. Again, it's probably about an inch height and 3/4 of an inch wide. So what I did is and I took the biggest piece here and I scaled it as big as possible to get the percentage. And I found out that if you scale it by 300%, this is the project that you get right here, total. And when you see the final build, you'll get the sense of how big this guy really is. I think he does stand close to 24, a little bit plus inches high, and it works so good. The model does, okay, not the assembly. Well, that's another thing. Anyway, in Bambu Studio, with any other slicing software, you just have to find your scaling button and stuff like that. And I just went ahead and scaled it 300%, okay, and that will give us our piece. Now, I did this to every single part, and every single part fit perfectly except for two items. One was the legs, and one was the gun part over here. I had to go ahead and cut it off and make some dowels so I can fit it in. And the other part, again, was the leg. And I'm going to go ahead and show you on the slicing software really fast on how you could take any size file basically and utilize Bambu slicing software to cut it up so it can fit your printer. Okay, brought in the leg. That is going to be the biggest piece on Megatron here. Of course, default comes in probably just whatever you assigned it. And I went ahead and I want to color this thing the way it should be. So I already have assigned some colors for the filaments to print, so I wanted to see it in the actual filament color I'm doing. Anyway, go ahead and scale this up to your appropriate markings that you want or parameters that you want. And you'll see how this has a highlighted effect here, okay, on this build plate, where it's kind of gray and then it gets darker. Well, that's the top of my parameters. My build plate, is where it's going to stop. So I had to cut this and make two pieces out of it. And I had to, I just didn't want to cut it right off the top either. So I wanted to make sure that wasn't interfering with anything. So if you could see here, I kind of did it a little lower. Anyway, there's a feature on Bambu software where it says cut. And if you go to cut, there it gives you kind of like an isolation of the part you want to cut. And I wanted to avoid any details and everything. So I figured right around this mark, right above this half circle, and right below that triangle, that's where I wanted it to be. And so I took this little icon and I kept moving it to where I wanted the cut to be made. That looks really good right there. I also wanted to add connectors. Okay, and we wanted dowels, and so you can go ahead and set the parameters on the dowel size that you want. So I went ahead and made it a little bit bigger and put one there, 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 and there. All right, cool. Confirm cut, confirm connections, perform cut. Now, this is what the software did, and I love Bambu software. It went ahead and cut my file into two printable sizes. It went ahead and cut out the pieces for the dowels to be glued into on both the bottom and the top there. So you could barely see it, but it's there. And it also went ahead and generated 4 dowels that you can go ahead and glue so everything lines up perfectly. This is a game changer in the slicing software game. If, in my opinion, you don't have to have any other third-party software to do it. Bambu kind of takes care of all the guesswork for you. Very easy. It allowed me to just take any size file and cut it up to a printable part. So anyway, that was the biggest piece. And again, I did that again on this gun piece with different connections. But I think the dowel option was better than the plug because this ended up breaking on me. The tolerances just weren't there. The dowels worked perfectly fine. So anyway, here's all the pieces scaled up. All the pieces on this Megatron build. Let's go ahead and I'm going to give you a overview of how long and how much it took to make. All right, here it is. Here is Megatron. Megatron scaled up to 300%, all ready to be printed. It is what? 4, 8, 12, 16, I'm sorry, 14 plates, 14 individual plates. I used gray, a light gray. I used Polymaker filament for this PLA filament. Light gray, black, red, a little bit of yellow, and a little bit of blue. That sucked to try to like find filament just for that little bit. But helpful tip: find those sample packs that are out there available that gives you like a 250 milligrams of filament, very small, and you can have little. You can have like a color variation without buying a whole roll, a whole kilogram of filament. So keep that in mind if you want to be doing multiple color projects on anything, right? So you don't need an AMS system for this one because I used none of it. I used basically just a single color print. So any printer can do this project, which is great. But again, helpful tip, find those little sample packs for something like this. Like Megatron has this little yellow piece right here. Well, I'm not going to spend $25 on a whole roll of yellow unless I need it for other projects. I'm going to find these little sample packs. Sometimes those 3D pen has those little coils, like very minimal, filaments. But if that's all you need, then go ahead and buy those so you have a variety of colors for these little projects. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and slice all of this, and I want to show you guys how long it takes and how expensive this was. All right, so now it's all sliced and everything. And before I get into the settings and stuff that I used for my personal preferences, maybe you guys have different ideas on how to print things. But here it is. So Bambu Lab breaks it all down for you. It got my gray, my red, my black, my yellow, and my blue. Now it's all in grams, so you can kind of tell. One roll of filament is 1,000 grams. So you're looking about a roll and a half of gray. Very minimal red, little over a roll of black, which you probably can get because sometimes on those rolls there's just excess. You could probably get all the black out of one roll, but just be mindful. Yellow and blue, very minimal. But total, you're looking at 2,500 grams of filament. That equates to 2.5 rolls. 2.5 plus very like little bit, like a point, maybe a 10% of another roll. So 2.5 rolls. The cost is around $63.25. Now, again, depending on your what filament that you use and the cost that you get it could be plus or minus. So this scaling this Megatron up to 300% cost around, I would say, about $65. Okay, and this that's what this model, after you print it, it'll show you what $65 will give you. Total print time, let's check out all these plates, right? So a lot of them were very, very long. 3 days, 18 hours, so probably about total of 4 days total of changing out your plates and everything else. And there's a lot of switching. Again, you don't need an AMS system for this. You can just use this, print on each individual color separate, which is great. So a good 4 days of printing, solid days of printing. Send these things overnight when you sleep so you wake up in the morning and hopefully you don't have any problems. And there you have it. So there are, like I was going into some of these settings and stuff, right? There, scaling these up, you have to enable supports. And I use tree supports because the overhangs become larger and everything else, so it's not going to print well. So again, I know that the regular files don't require any supports, but again, I always enable supports when I'm going scaling bigger. The strength, I just keep at the default really, and I just use a different infill. But anyway, my speeds, my thing on the Bambu Labs is they print very, very fast, right? But I'm going to tell you right now is that I cut my speeds, my default speeds, in half. I cut everything in half from initial layer all the way to top surface. I've had nothing but success doing it this way. I don't know what you guys do, or maybe you have different ideas again, but if I just left it at default speeds, I get more failed prints, more ugly prints and stuff like that, and it just doesn't work. So I cut everything in half, and it works great for me. Again, tree supports enabled, and yeah, we're ready to send this to the printer. I don't know if there's anything else to cover other than, put it in, scaling up, make sure that it's all good, and cut it if you need to, and send to the printer. So that's what we're going to do. So printing went off without a hitch, and I honestly cannot be happier with the quality of these prints. First off, the Bambu Lab printers have been amazing in my experience. I have 3 of them now, and I think I want to switch over my entire arsenal to these printers. The quality is fantastic. The speed is fantastic. They're just overall good machines. So with that, the printing, flawless. Everything was great. I didn't have to reprint anything. So let's get into assembly here. So blowing these up or scaling these up to 300%, from the original files and the original creator. The original creator didn't have this in mind, of course. And again, this is totally my experiment and other people's experiments that have done this. Scaling up files are not meant to be scaled up. You're going to come across major issues assembling this thing. And again, this is out of the hands of Toymaker 3D now. This is into my hands. For what he gave us, flawless, perfect, perfect, perfect. I actually do want to print the actual size, one day. But again, for a challenge, for an experiment, this is awesome and a big learning curve. So as you're seeing here, I didn't have like a very streamlined way of doing this because as I was gluing pieces together, which was the easy part, as soon as I started putting the joints together and pieces that like friction fit, it was virtually impossible to get these connecting pieces locked in. I had to sit there and shave off a few, with a file or a sandpaper just to get some in. And then, as the joints did slip in, I was hurting myself. Again, I could not film this because every time I tried getting to a point where I'm going to connect two pieces, I ended up taking it into my like almost with a hammer and chisel and started to smack these parts in. And I'm talking about the joints, like the elbow joints and the shoulder. Everything that didn't require glue was a very messy and pain to put together. Again, that's the learning experience. That's what you get when the files are not meant to be scaled up to 300%. These are issues. These are what self inflicted issues, which I totally understand, and again, I accept this. But going into like Uncle Jesse's video, which I was mentioned before, he made it look like it was so easy and everything snapped together and it was so perfect and everything. But again, now going forward, if I was going to do any more of these robots from Toymaker 3D, I think I need to. That's gonna be my expectations going forward. It's gonna be a hard challenge getting this piece together. Now, again, because of the scaled up everything, the joints are not. Once they're in, it has like a cavity where the ball and socket go. It's not. It's not close enough for friction, right? When these are printed small, I'm sure you get friction and everything can pose well and everything. So what I went in there is after everything was complete and I got Megatron there, he did not stand because everything was so loose. He was like a dangling keychain, a heavy dangling keychain, but nonetheless, it just was, it was, I wanted to throw it across the room a couple times, but anyway, no. So I took super glue and I would coat the joints and I would just move it back and forth so this glue wouldn't set, right? So it's an old action figure trick with loose ankles. You put a little super glue on there and you just keep moving it until the glue dries and it creates like a little bit of a surface, the build up there for tension. And that's what I did with Megatron here. I did it with super glue. And I know some people have used clear nail polish, or some other ways of coating the joint into something where it can hold into those cavities. Maybe I can go in there and take the files and add something, but again, I think that would mess up. It'd make it even more impossible to put things together after they're printed. So I think this is the method moving forward, going with scaling these up if I was going to continue that. So yeah, I got it to a point where he was posable and he stood up on its own. Now I got to go back, of course, and I'm going to apply a lot more coats of super glue into those joints to really build it up so it's really holding up the arms and legs of this beast, because it is 2.5 kilograms of filament is pretty heavy, So, but here he is in all his glory, as what I can pose him out. And again, I'm going to work on it, but I mean, I honestly am still amazed at this thing being 300% on a table or whatever. And if I print out Optimus Prime, I'm gonna have them in their battle poses and stuff, and it's gonna be amazing. I think it'd be a cool shelf piece that goes along with my Transformers collection. So yeah, I mean, I'm still, with all the headaches of assembly, I think the process was fun and a learning thing to go forward with other droid builds. Now, when it comes to his paid stuff, like that Mecha Godzilla and everything, I think I'm just gonna print it 1-to-1, as is, whatever he has modeled it after. But the G1s, I do want it big. I want it, 300%. I think that's a cool thing to do. But compared to a Black Series, which is 6 inch. I put here Luke Skywalker compared to Megatron here, and it just looks menacing. I think that's like, I'm envisioning that's the true scale in a true, 1/8 or 1/12 scale Megatron, right? Um, I think it looks fantastic. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this and learned something with me as we continue these spotlight builds, experiment builds, ultra builds, and everything 3D printing. It is so fun just to kind of challenge yourself and going in there unknown and then coming out of it with like, yeah, the next one I'm gonna do it so much better and everything. And I think that's what's more important in life than anything. It's just going from, you're doing a 180, right? You enter one way and exit a different person. So anyway, thank you so much for making it this far in the video, putting up with my rambling. But I this is just too much fun to stop. So anyway, drop a like, leave a comment, please leave a comment, and let's start printing some more of these things to see what else is out there. And I know there's a lot more out there. Again, I'm just kind of going down the list of builders that I know of, and trying to print it myself and learn from their modeling and their creativity, and then bring it on to my own stuff that I'm doing. So anyway, thank you guys so much. Like and subscribe, and yeah, again, print something epic, and let's go.